Hello, welcome. What we're looking at here is now that we've created templates and seen how coding works, we want to actually go through and create an email. And we're going to try it in two steps. Step one will be to work on our portal. Then step two, we'll go back and take a look at the actual production system. So with that, we go over to our portal. We're focused on demonstrating how you can create an email or an email structure for a campaign. To begin with, what we want to do is we want to go to our email, so our testing email, and we have our email screen that we'll start working with. You can see along the left what we have is various activities we can do. We can look at sent or scheduled, draft or archived emails. And we have access to all of our other tools along in this menu as well. Underneath, and we'll get to this at the end of the lecture, we have our email performance analytics, where we can sit there and look and analyze what's happening with our email. To begin with, in the right hand side, upper right, we want to create a new email. So it's as simple as clicking create new email. Once you click on that, the first option you're presented with is what template do you want to use? Well, in addition to the templates you've created, there are other templates you can get. You can get example templates. You can go out and purchase various templates, or in your case, you can write templates and sell them. We don't want to do that right now, as we're just trying to practice and understand emails. So we'll select the one template that's given in our toolkit, and the first thing it asks is to name it. And we want to write ISM Web Development Homework. And that'll be the name of our email that we will write. This is the name that will be given to the internal system. It's not the name that we're going to do anything except track it inside of the system with. So here's our screen. So let's take a quick look. The menus along the top start with Edit, Settings, Recipients, Review, Send and Schedule. Down the left, we can preview our email. We can send a test email. We can check to see how the email will look in various email clients. Again, you should have a very good idea of who your clients are and what emails they use. So we can look at that at the end in analytics as well. Understand how to optimize, how to edit modules. These are the modules that you've built with your template that you have unlocked or let remain unlocked. Then you can do A/B testing. You've learned about this in your statistics class, so I won't get into that here. So let's begin. The first step is to edit the details. Who's it from? What's the subject? So let's take a look. In the example here, it's going to be from me. And it will be from my Wayne State email account. And the subject line is homework and did you complete your homework? Now notice that we can also personalize it. Since we're sending it to the individual, we'll know something about that individual. And in this case, in the category or record type contact, we will have various pieces of information about that individual. And if we don't, we have the default. So here we're going to say first name, comma, did you complete your homework? And let's take a look at this again a little more carefully. Do you remember that we said brace, brace? The system will go scan the database. It will look for the contact record, and in the contact record, it will scan looking for the field called first name. So it will then insert the first name of the individual, comma, did you complete your homework? And remember, what we're saying for our websites was it must be personalized, it must be smart, and it must be responsive. Here's the preview text. This is the preview text that some email clients allow you to mouse over and get a preview of what the email is about. This is about checking to see if you need help with your ISM website development homework projects. So I'm going to click done now. So we've began by editing or creating using our WYSIWYG editor. The first step was to do the details at the top. The second part, we can decide, are we going to send an HTML email or we're going to send a plain text email. I'm going to work on HTML. So what we can do, and our option here at the very top, since we put this in our template, was we wanted to create a web version so that perhaps they wanted to see the email on a web page instead of in the reader. So you can turn that on, edit the settings, and the settings, notice we jumped over here into the second part, the settings, so that we have the ability to check for our campaign. Now these campaign is grouping of assets. So maybe this campaign is all about ISM courses. And so we want to track each one of our assets about the ISM courses differently. And that would be our campaign. Email type. Email type, the individual may decide, please opt me out of various types of emails, but let me stay in for various other ones. So we're going to check to see what type of email they are. The web version, we said turn it on. And the title for the web page would be contact first name, did you complete your homework? Well, just for laughs, let's just make it did you complete your homework? And you can see the URL that is created on your site. And this is an email to offer help to students to complete their website development homework. And the meta description is description that would appear in perhaps a Google search. So we can put a life on the web page, so we can redirect it after a certain amount of time or send it to a landing page after a certain amount of time. For us right now, we're not going to do a whole lot more than what we just did. We can modify in our settings the template and the footer as well. Now the footer, remember, this is to keep us in compliance with CAN spam. So if we looked and managed our default elements, we built these earlier, and this is the company name, address, etc. that we would be able to use. I'm going to close that, and let's go back to our email. And done. So we've put it here now, and you can see we've got the web version link for the email already set. Here our module is, and let me just jump over here so that you can see the modules. So in the left-hand menu bar, I selected the Edit Modules. And notice there's the logo here. That's the logo module. The logo module we built inside of our content settings. So that's where that would be edited. The main body, as you can see highlighted in the dash blue in the center of the page, is the body of the email. The column above, if you wish to have information there, social sharing at the bottom, the footer, and the link. I'm going to close that out. So we could put in, and let's edit our main body, and you can see there's two pieces here. In the first button, it's Make It Smart. The second button is Edit the Text. Let's start with the email body and making it smart. If you click the email Make It Smart, you have smart content. Again, personalized belongs to the person, something I know about the person and or company. So it could be their first name, last name, it could be an interest, it could be their major, it could be their status in the school. Are they a junior, are they senior, are they MBA, are they a PhD, postgrad? So we could do that. So the life cycle stage says, well, maybe this is how are they defined? Are they a current student? Are they alumni? Are they a visitor, a lead, somebody that you have information about? Maybe it's a parent. So what is their life cycle stage? We also have the ability to make it smart content by what dynamic content list membership they part of. So if they're a donor, and how much did they provide? You could make it smart such that how many web pages did the individual look at our site, because we're getting ready for scholarships. So one of the things we might want to do is say if they have a lead score greater than 75, we want to ensure that they receive emails about scholarship opportunities. So this is how we could make various things smart. I'm going to close that out because I don't want to do that right now. Then again, as you can see here, we'll edit it, and there's personalization. The personalization that's showing up are these tokens, and the tokens are in green. That's from our database. We've either made a new contact record or we're using existing records. So for example, in the record type contact, there's first name as a field, and that's the individual's name. So we have where we can write our email to them. So it would be hi, insert first name. This is an example, etc., etc. We can have links, and the links here would match. You can insert an image. You can do personalization, such as first name. Then in the email, you can do some basic work. Spell checking, bold, italics, font size larger, font size smaller, adjust left, center, right, unordered list or ordered lists. So you have a variety of elements here. Let's continue on and edit and see on the menu option, you can do cut paste. You can insert documents. You could have that call to action that we talked about many times, where you're trying to say, click here to register for the class. Special characters, if you need to insert a special character like a copyright symbol or check marks. You can put horizontal lines in there. We can style it. We can style by various formats, headings. If you want to have a call out quote, you can do the various elements like bold and italics, text size, line height, and alignment. You can insert a table. And this is one of the things when we did our table exercise, we said, we really don't do that much anymore. We control it mostly with cascading style sheets. Well, this is the exception to the rule. In the email, typically you don't have as much control over cascading style sheets. They have to be inline, they can't be embedded or external. And so to go back to spacing, sometimes you jump in and use tables. And or perhaps you just want to show information in a table format, and you could insert the tables. Other tools, spell checking, and then if you wanted to, you could jump right into the code. So you could jump in and actually start to write the code for the email. And obviously you can see this is nothing more than normal HTML code. There's the paragraphs, there's the end paragraph, there's our anchor tag, there's our end anchor tag. So you know all of this stuff as well. So I'm going to save. And let's pretend I did a great job writing this wonderful email about how you can get help on your homework. I now want to preview it. So I click preview and it says, okay, that's great. John, we want to preview his contact John. Notice when I did that, there was that personalization token and it came up here. We can open it in a new window, but we've been working on what if it was in a smartphone? How would it look? How would it look if I looked at it in landscape mode? What about a tablet? How would it look? How would it look on a desktop? So we have the ability to check and see how it would look before we send it. Obviously, we can send a test email, and we can send a test email to ourselves and preview it, and then the email will be sent to me. Now, obviously, this is a developmental server, so for obvious reasons, you're not going to be able to see send it to mass emails because it's a developmental server and they don't want just test emails floating all over the world, so that you won't see that. So in this case, and what you will have to do is you'll have to load me as a recipient, and then you'll have to also load my address so that I can receive your homework project when you send it to me. You can check and see how it looks in various inboxes. So if you knew the specific device you were trying to work on, so maybe it was an Android 4 that you wanted to look at, that is one that you could use. You could look at perhaps the desktop. I want to use Outlook 2003, but not the older ones. I could check and see. I wanted to see how Gmail and Chrome would look. And you can go through, and again, you should know these answers to these questions because of the analytics. You should know your audience, you should know who's looking at your emails, you should know something about and look at it. So here we go, we're looking at the client tests. No emails will be sent. the test is in progress, and you can go through and wait for it. And here are the test results. So for the Android, that's what it would look like. And we and look at that. We could look at the Outlook. We could look at Chrome, still running. So let's go back and look at Outlook. This is how it would look in Outlook if you wanted to see it, that device as well. What would happen if they put the image block on or off? And with that, I will close that. So you have an idea of how to test. You can optimize as well. The computer says, hey, you know what? Based on everything we know, this is the things about deliverability. This is about sending. And the yellows are warning lights. Greens are goods. So for example, 0 calls to action or email. And the answer is an email to get, you're sending it to somebody for a reason. You want a response or an action or them to do something. And you didn't put in a call to action to ask them to do anything. So that isn't there. The subject line is 54 characters. Hey, guess what? Did you know it's going to get truncated after 50 characters? So did you complete your homework? Is too long. So maybe what I should say is just, did you complete homework? And then that error message would disappear. So we would be much better off then. So the idea on that is completed. Those are edit modules we looked at. A/B testing would allow you to do 2 different emails to check to see what you liked or didn't like, and then see which one performs better, and then use that. So we've now worked through the editing or creating of our email. We've looked at the various settings. Now let's just say it looks great. Says it's ready to send. So how can we send it? We can do lists of people, or we can do smart lists, or we can do individual contacts, or we can build an automation that the email will kick off when a user does something. So 10 days after you register, send this. 2 days after you submit your homework, do this. So you could do a whole host of things like that. Here I want to include individual contacts from my contact database. Then I can include or exclude them. And now I have built my recipients. I can then review the email. And it's giving me a yep. Here's all the things you should be careful about. Suggestion, you should have a customized plain text version. You didn't do that. And the reason is some people don't accept HTML emails. Campaigns, you should think about why you're sending it and bring that campaign information together so that you can analyze it better. What you did right, you put in the internal name, you said who it was from and subject, you had the preview text, you build a web version, you explain the email type for support of CAN spam laws, and you selected who it's going to go to. So the next and the last step then, after we checked and double checked, is to schedule it. So we can send it now, or we can build it into a campaign. Because remember, what it was saying was that email, there might be better times or not better times to send. Maybe you want to send it at 8 in the morning, and then it would be scheduled to go out at that time. Then obviously you can save and then schedule it, and the email is now scheduled. So we've built and worked on our email project. So we've completed that portion. What I wanted then to show you is the statistics. We said these were the analytic elements. Well, I want to back down one. I want to take a moment and show you the email statistics that I wanted and am running and monitoring. So for example, when you're looking at the email performance, and let's just take a look at ISM 7505. These are your peers. There was an email that was sent out that says, hey, guess what? Please come to a LinkedIn session. Now notice, 100% of the students received, I said that wrong, 100% of the students in the class were selected. Only 95% received the email because 2 in the class said, I don't want any email from you. John, I'm sorry, but I don't care to read it. So they hard bounced. Of those that remained in the class, only 82% even bothered to open up the email. So there was a group, 18% of the classes didn't even bother reading their email. Now, of those that opened it, only 15% bothered to click on anything. So 85% said, blew it off. So what we have then, and let's take a better look at that, is here is some more statistics about that email. What we can do is we can analyze the performance, of which we're going to do right now. And you can see a picture of the email here. And this is what the email would look like. It had the picture, it had information on both sides, and it had the call to action button. I won't do the recipients, but you can scan and find out a lot by recipient. But on an overview, let's take a look at the overview. We know the engagement, who opened it and clicked through it. We know delivery. We know what time. So it appears that when they were looking at what time is best to send, most of the folks seemed to open it earlier in the morning. So that seemed to be the more positive time that we should be considering to sending the email. We also know that about 50-50 opened it on mobile devices versus desktop. And those that opened it, read it, and clicked more often were on the desktop. So the delivery. We had 2 hard bounces. Hard bounce versus a soft bounce. Hard bounce is that email address is incorrect. That does not exist. And that could be for a variety of reasons. For those that opened it, we can find out the time. Then we can look and say, did they glance at it and go, yep, delete? Did they go, yeah, done, delete? Or did they actually read it? So it appears that once your peers got the email, 88% of them actually read it. So 12% didn't bother, but 88% bothered to read it and spent a little bit of time reading it. As we said, we knew that they opened desktop and mobile, but the opening, we should be scanning for Apple Mail because that seems to be the most popular device that class was using. Then Chrome. So we have an idea if we're going to prepare and to test and to see what we should be looking at. Those 2 contributed, that's almost 60%. We know that who clicked it. The interesting thing is we know what link they clicked. So 5 clicked the top link, And here's the email. And I will hold it right into here so you can see it. But you can see who clicked. So 2 of the 6 clicks were here. 3 clicks, or 1 click was here. A click was here. No click, no click, no click on the call to action. So interestingly enough, as you're looking at your email, we thought that was the big draw. That was the call to action. But as you went through the email and read the email, other individuals had different ideas about what they thought they should click on. So maybe our call to action wasn't exactly correct. And interestingly enough, there was the other one. No one bothered to click into there. So again, you can say, well, geez, I'm starting to see how it performed. And we said that 2/3 of those that clicked were from desktops, and they were using Chrome. So as an interesting aside, 50% of the 67% used Chrome as the browser to view that email. Again, that's telling you something when you're testing and making sure the email looks right, is what your users are using, so that you know how to make sure that that is correct and looks good. With that, then, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching this email, create an email, send an email, and understanding a little bit about emails. Thank you for watching.